Hello everybody and welcome back to another Road to Worlds. This is covering August and September. We've got some results. We're trying a little bit of a weird format. I did try to record videos after each couple challenge and I failed. I'll just be honest, I failed. But yeah, the editing's going to be a bit kind of all over the place. We obviously got some news about Worlds and stuff like that as well for next year. Got the schedule for September sorted as well for League Cups and challenges. So yeah, look forward to sharing all that with you. So let's get into the first cup, shall we? First League Cup of the month was at Bucks and Banter in Burton-upon-Trent. I believe it was their first League Cup. Very small event. I think there's only 18 people. I tried something new as well. I tried Colourless Lugia, knowing I had like really good results with it in Pokemon Live and generally enjoying the deck more than Single Strike Lugia for whatever reason. I thought it'd be a good choice to go into this. It was a really small tournament, not many big names or anything like that. First match was a loss against Shampao. I had a bad game 1. Game 2, I got set up absolutely perfect. Ran out of steam. The lack of damage from Snorlax was showing. Regret is setting in. I'm reading my tweets. I'll try and expand a little bit. Yeah, I remember just bricking the first game. The second game, I thought I was onto something. I had, if I remember right, I went first, and my turn was like, you know, Lugia V, Ultra Ball away, 2 Archeops, etc., etc. Like, I was ready to go straight away. The lack of damage coming off the Snorlax, try and take out the Shampaos and stuff like that, it just overwhelmed me so quickly, and it was terrible. You'll find out later on. I play against another one. The deck just loses to Shampao, which is upsetting. Lost against Lost Box, one of the decks I actually had a good matchup into. Bricked both games, of course I did. Lugia is going into Bind the Jail. I'm going to be begging up for Arceus' mercy when I get home. Yeah, so it's actually supposed to be like a really good matchup into Lost Box Colourless Lugia because Snorlax doesn't take damage from damage counters, from Sableye and stuff like that, so it's got like a really good matchup and just bricked. Absolutely bricked both games. It was awful. I just could not get Lugia going either time. Man, absolutely terrible. So we're already down 2 games. Win-win against Palkia V-Star. Annoyingly tough. I made the plays to make Luxray available both games. Luxray was prized both first game, Reversal NG was prized the second game. The deck actually worked. It's got the Pokemon NG down to checkmate any KOs made. It did feel a lot like when I played Oinkologne for a league challenge, like, earlier in the year. It was like, I thought I'd try something different, catch people off guard, and it didn't work. It was 2 wins, which was nice, but like it didn't feel good because it was the Palkia League deck. Like, it was a completely unmodified Palkia League deck, and it was a close game. So yeah, the deck hasn't made it. I'll tell you that much. It's back in Bind the Jail where it belongs. Next game was a win-win against God of War EX. Can't take too much credit. Inexperienced opponent, but deck actually ran, which was nice. Misplayed with Drapion, but wasn't punished. Yeah, played down Drapion. If I remember right, I powered it up, but powered it with 3 energy, and then had no way to actually get it into the active without the active being knocked out. Fortunately, the active got knocked out, and then I just like attached another energy and took the knockout on the God of War EX, but yeah, that sucked. And loss against Shampao EX. The deck just loses that Shampao. It's so much fun. I got very salty. I was very annoyed, but it was a good tournament. All 3 of our boys of the 5 got into the top 4, which was fantastic, and Tom won the whole thing, so absolutely fantastic. If you don't know Tom, he's our judge at Manaflux, so absolutely brilliant, super proud of him, and yeah, on to the next. Next up was a League Cup in Crit Hit Games in Liverpool. Again, quite a small event. I played Arceus, Umbreon, Pika, Aerodactyl. It was quite the pile. I'll try and get the list up at some point. But yeah, quite a small event as well, but it was top 8 prizing, which was nice, so we go on. First game was a win-win against Lost Gudra and Alolan Vulpix. Very good game. I played like an absolute champion in this. I imagine a lot of people know about this already, but Arceus hits for if you're attacking with Arceus turn 2, you're almost always going to be attacking with double turbo energy for 180 damage. I did the best play I've ever done. I can only do this because I had quite a lot of the pieces in hand already. They benched a Gudra and started powering it up, so 220 health. I was going to be swinging for 180, and I had to find Choice Belt, Boss's Orders, and Hawlucha. I found Hawlucha from a top deck. I had a boss in hand already, and all I needed to do was grab everything else I needed off the... In fact, I don't think I Starbirthed to begin with. I actually had everything in hand. It was really good. So what had to happen... Oh, that was it. I had to Starbirth the Choice Belt. So Choice Belt onto the Arceus for doing 210 damage. Hawlucha down to do a 10 damage ping onto the Gudra and 10 ping elsewhere. Boss up the Gudra and then knock it out for 220. It was awesome. Also, having the Aerodactyl have exact numbers on Alolan Vulpix was very clutch. It was really good just to be able to like swing and take him out. Like, the opponent looked at the card and went, what? So, yeah, absolutely fantastic. Next game was a loss win-win against Sandaconda Basculegion. Terrifying deck. I did not think I was going to beat it. I luckily played quite smart with this. You know, listen, I know I'm going to say things that probably sound really obvious to anyone who's a long-term player of this game, but once you figure out, like, how their engine works, if you know how to counter it, you win, right? Like, it's obvious, but, you know, sometimes you're against a brand new deck, you have to stare at it and figure it out. So, Sandaconda does damage based on how many NGs discarded. You think it's either top 5 or top 6, and every one of those NGs does 60 damage. So they can hit for up to 300 or 360 every turn. So the VMAXs became very important because they could not one-shot them, which is fantastic. Arceus, you know, loses it if it's 3 energy, like that hits her enough because of weakness. Then the Basque Legion does damage 20x based on how many energy are in the discard pile, and then they get shuffled back in. So you're constantly cycling between your attackers, using Sandaconda once, twice, 3 times a lady, and then Basque Legion put the energy back in, then back to Sandaconda. Lost City for Sandacondas, fantastic. Making sure Basque Legion could never do more than enough damage was fantastic. Bossing up a Sandaconda or baby Silicobra when it was a wee baby, when it hadn't evolved, because I knew the Basque Legion could not do enough damage to take knockouts. Big brain plays. I was very proud of that. I figured the deck out, and I was very happy about it. Lost against Chien-Pao for the next game. Both games, a piece of Aerodactyl was prized. I could have had at least a shot into that matchup. Still my worst matchup in the game right now. Yeah, Chien-Pao, you need to be taking knockouts every turn. If they get 2 Excalibur set up, it's really tough to get that game done. Aerodactyl was my good chance of winning because I one-shot the Arceus, I one-shot the Chien-Pao. If I had them, I'd have been good. First game, Aerodactyl V was prized. Second game, the V-Star was prized. So I was absolutely scuppered. It sucked. It really did. Win and loss against Arcadura next. I was a boss away from victory. 2-1-1. Got to win next game for top 8. Yeah, so literally went to overtime. 0-1, 2-3. They brought up a Pokemon I couldn't one-shot. Again, if I had an Aerodactyl, I could have one-shot it. I would have been okay. Aerodactyl was prized again. Of course it was. So, yeah, ended up not getting the win there. It came away with a tie, which sucked. Last game was a loss against Lost Tina. Another really bad matchup for me. That's my championship points dreams in the bin again. Finished on 2-2-1. Not the worst I've ever done, and I didn't get much practice in with the list, but tis what tis. Yeah, it was literally a case of I tested the list 3 times the night before. Really enjoyed how it played, and you know, I know Arceus decks. I can figure out the intricacies quite quickly. It just didn't do what it needed to do. Like, one of the most... Weirdly, the win against Lost Tina was, like, the worst start for me. I started Hawlucha, and Hawlucha is quite important to keep as the... I need to be able to ping with the Hawlucha, basically. The logic is I can take out 2 Tinas with our Aerodactyl quite easily. You throw down a V-Guard so they can't one-shot. You throw down a Choice Belt, and then make sure you don't put double turbo on. You hit him for 270, plus the pings with Hawlucha. 280, that's knockout. You can take 2 Giratina down like that, but it just never played out like that, and it was really annoying. It was a lot to ask of the deck, and it just... Yeah, it didn't flow, unfortunately. But yeah, it is what it is. 2-2-1, it's fine. No championship points again, but... yeah, next one is a challenge. Then we got a cup. They're our last 2 challenges for points this month. Hey, so League Challenge at Manaflux was next up, and just for context, I'm recording this completely like together with the next cup because I wanted to record these after I did the events, completely forgot. Anyway, Manaflux Challenge, I've got the results up here because I needed to refresh my mind a little bit because these weren't great. These weren't great. So again, League Challenge at Manaflux, we're playing Arc Giratina Superior. It was a day before Charizard was illegal, but I wanted to just kind of like get the reps in a little bit just to see how it felt, and it felt good. The only issue was my misplays, and boy howdy, they were numerous. So I had a win-loss against Miraidon EX to go 0-1-0. I'm an idiot. I had Path in hand on the 3rd game, and I could have prevented Miraidon just going nuts, potentially, you know, winning a game because I denied Pokemon on the board. Didn't do that, and it cost me, so that sucks, but it is what it is. Next game was a win-win against Mew VMAX. Double lock with Path and Spiritomb did work for me. Also, adding a card I barely see anyone running the deck was huge. Just for context, that was Sharon's Care. I don't know what it is about lists with Arceus at the moment, but like, well, it's been a while actually, but people don't like to include Volo in Duraludon, not that we talk about that deck anymore, and they don't like to run Sharon's Care in Arceus. And I tell you what, when you get hit for 240 and there's like a couple of prize cards left and you just go Sharon's Care, bring up the next Pokemon to knock out a Mew VMAX, whew, it is beautiful. It's such good feeling. So that takes us to 1-1-0. Next game was a loss against God of War EX. I effing misplayed twice. I forgot to grab a DTE off Starbirth in game 1 and took ages to get any setup. Not the first time I've done that either. Third game, I tunnel visioned and forgot to path before declaring an attack. I'm so mad at myself. These late night challenges aren't good for me. Yeah, this should have been a win. The first game, if I grabbed double turbo, I think the game board state was like really bad for the opponent, so I could have took a win there. And, you know, I proved I could take a win in that matchup. I took the win second game, and then the third game, yeah, all I had to do was play down the path and take a knockout, and unless they drew into a counter stadium, which they showed me after they could have, but, you know, I didn't know that at the time, and I could take a little sidebar here. One of my pet hates is when you go, it's not so much when you're in a casual game, because, you know, you are tested and stuff like that, but when you're in, like, a challenge, and you go, or a cup, and you go, oh, yeah, I should have done this, I didn't, I'm an idiot, and then they go, yeah, but I had this. Like, that doesn't affect my decision, you know what I mean? Like, I would have done it still. I could have gone, oh yeah, they might have that, oh, maybe I shouldn't play. No, I'm still going to play the card. Like, it doesn't matter what you could have drawn into at the end of the day. Sorry, it was something that annoyed me a little bit. So yeah, that takes us to 1-2-0. Fourth game was a win-win against God of War. When I win, I win-win. Weirdly, God is an awful matchup. I usually have time to pop an energy on 2 Pokemon before Arceus gets taken down. Applying learnings and hitting Zacian to stop energy attachment have been huge, always learning. Yes, one of the things that I took into this game, and I took into the Cup, the next game as well, like, I always used to think, because I can't knock out Zacian with a double turbo, or even double turbo in Choice Belt, there's no point in actually doing it. But the fact of the matter is, it's great, because unless they run Penny, they can only attach one more energy via Psychic Embrace. It's actually, like, really smart to take the hit. And again, I've said this a million times when I've been talking about these kind of things. I know it's obvious to some people. It's one of those things that's maybe taking a bit longer to click in my head. I suppose one of my main issues, my biggest gripes for myself, is I don't really look at how other people play decks, and maybe I should do more of that. That's probably a retrospective thing I should start looking at a little bit more. Next game was a lost win-win against Regibox. First and third game, Superior V was prized, effing brutal, but got Superior out game 3 just in time. Played like a champ, in my opinion, not my greatest showing. Excuse me, how does that work? Yeah, Superior was like a card I wanted to use a little bit in that matchup, and I know what you're thinking, there's no, you know, real advantage to playing it. There's no weakness to be hit, whereas Arceus has that and Giratina does, and I know what you're saying, Giratina doesn't have a weakness. Yeah, Giratina doesn't have a weakness, but having to hit for overkill for 280 and get rid of energy just kind of sucks a little bit. So I'd rather use the Superior as like 190 damage and be able to move energy around if I need to, and not have to worry about just like getting rid of resources. So it would have been a really good card to actually have in that matchup. Also, don't run Lost Box in this list, so that's another one that would have been nice. But yeah, it was absolutely fine. The second or third game, there was I think the third game, my opponent attached a Luminous Energy and another Special Energy, and they went to attack, and they declared the attack, and I said, okay, and then carried on, and they said, wait, you knocked out. I went, how? And the attack, yeah, but you've got Luminous Energy and a Special Energy attached. Yeah? Luminous Energy doesn't work. It becomes a colourless energy if you attach, and they checked it and went, you're not going to let me go back on that, are you? I went, it's a challenge, dude. At the end of the day, there's points on the line, so I can't just, you know, let that go. It sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. More importantly, though, for that challenge, my wonderful partner, Kaya, went 4-1-0 with Palkia V-Star, came second in her first ever challenge, so massive props to her. That was fantastic. Moving on, we have a League Cup at Battleground Gaming in Birmingham, and we're playing Art, Giratina, and Superior, so the same list as the challenge. Nothing changed, so we'll see how it goes. First game was a win against Arceus Leafeops. That's Leafeon and Spidops. Absolute pet deck for me. Absolutely love that deck. Took 40 minutes to get through game 1, and they scooped game 2, which was a shame because I had opened a game-winning hand. I'm always proud of that. Yeah, it was a really good game. It took a while. We had to have like a couple of judge calls with like things being used under Spiritomb and stuff, but it all got cleaned up pretty well. Yeah, just a win, straight up 1-0. Pretty happy about that. Next game was a win-loss against God of War EX. Really good round, closed both games. I stupidly forgot to Starbirth game 2, which maybe cost me the game, but it is what it is. That takes me to 1 win, 1 tie. Yeah, it was, I was playing against someone I know from Manaflux, and it was it was a little bit annoying, because I was like, I feel like I did really well there, and I had a really good time. But yeah, I was, again, this is one of the things that keep coming up if you watch these videos and stuff. I tunnel vision so easily. I'm like, okay, and Arceus is a simple deck, and maybe that's the issue. I go, okay, I've got to do this, this, and this. I'm going to do this, and this is the last thing on the list. I prioritized that for whatever reason. Like an idiot, but it's fine. It's fine. Next was a win-win-win against Turbo Loss. Won first game, and it was relatively close. Second game, I drew too many cards off Judge, thought it was Iono, and scooped. Felt really bad. Played out a third game. It was a hard brick for them. Won that too. Yeah, it was unfortunate. I like to think I speak relatively clearly and calmly, and a bit, you know, I talk quick in these videos. I talk much more eloquently in real life situations, and I tried to say, you know, I say Judge and then, you know, do the things, and yeah, they had 7 in their hand at the start of their next turn, and I was like, wait, how many cards you got in your hand? And they were like, 7. I was like, how? And they said, I drew 6 up. And then they saw Judge on the top of my deck and went, oh. And because they'd already lost first game, they were like, you know what, I'm just going to scoop it. It was really nice of him. He was a really nice guy. And I said to him, you know, it was just for lunch break. I said, do you want to play out the other game as well? Just see how it would have gone. And yeah, unfortunately for him, absolute brick. So it sucked for him. But yeah, I was happy. I was happy with that. So we're currently 2 wins, 1 loss. Next game was, ooh, I'm going to have to remember. I was 2-1-1. Have to win the rest now to top 8. I played like poop and the deck semi-break. Just wasn't seeing anything. Oh well, 2 wins in a row. Done that already today, smiley face. That was... Oh, it was the other Arctina build, and it was a weird Arctina build. It had Squawkabilly, it had Super Rod, it had some, like, other funky things, but it worked. Like, it just swept me. It was ridiculous. They started second both times and just demolished me, so I have no words. That was 2-1-1. Next game was a loss-win-loss against Chempower, which is one of my absolute hate decks. So that's my points for today and for the month done. I feel so unbelievably average, it's ridiculous. Deck was running hot the first 3 games, then completely died in its arse after lunch. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like, the deck was fantastic before lunch, and then just died on its arse completely. It sucked, but, you know, as I keep having to say, it is what it is. 2-2-1 for those keeping count at home. Next game was a loss against God of War. I scooped, I've lost the motivation. 2-3-1, ops are all fantastic, and I'm not as tilted as I could be. I'm going to get off the RC train now, though. I really need to. GG's to my opponents and the boys. Yeah, yeah, once I lost that game, I was kind of like, I just can't be arsed. Like, I know I should be playing for the fun of the game, and I think, and I'll get onto this in a little bit, I found a deck I'm having a bit more fun with. I've played Arceus that much that I'm kind of like, I'm just done. Like, any opportunity to not play it at this stage, I'm kind of like, yeah, you know what? You can have the game, it's fine. But yeah, in good news, Reese ended up making top 4, so he's on a good chunk of points now. Yeah, I'll have to try and find an update for all the points, actually, at some point. If I remember to do it, editor, that's me, I'll put it up here so everyone can see everyone's current points. So that's it for the month, and it's a real disappointment. Yeah, it's a disappointment, because, like, the first month, I did really well. I got 60 points out of the gate, 2 top 8s in a month, and I was like, wow, okay, maybe I'm okay at this game. Like, I felt really good in a really good place. And then, yeah, just absolutely nothing this month after, what, 3 cups, 1 challenge? It doesn't feel great. But some of them did make me feel a little bit better in, like, a Schadenfreude kind of way, which I'm sure the man I'm about to mention will appreciate. Murdo also got no points this month. And him sharing that with me made me feel a bit better, because, you know, I joke about it, but he is a better player than me. He is currently on more points, and he's got a League Cup win to his name as well. So the fact that he shared that with me made me feel a lot better, because I am getting quite self-defeating with all of this. And if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen what I'm like. I'm just, like, constantly berating myself. So, but we move onwards and upwards. We have a new deck, at least for this cup, and we'll see how it goes. I have made the switch finally to anything that is an Arceus, and that is God of War EX. For those who have been following for a while, God of War has been, like, a deck I've wanted to play for a while. I know what you're thinking, what's been stopping you? Well, Arceus has been such a comfort pick for a long time. I know exactly how that deck goes. I know exactly how all the matchup goes. It's hard to actually try and put the effort into playing anything else. And God of War has been something I've been looking at since it got announced. Like, I saw the potential in it straight away. And I didn't end up playing it because I kind of didn't enjoy the early lists. Now that we've got a nice ironed out one, now we've got Todd's list from Worlds, I've been having a lot more fun with the deck, and I feel like I'm playing a lot better with it as well. To the point where I was sat next to Michael at Locals on Thursday. It was quite funny because he sat there, he watched me play, and he goes, do you know what? There's only one thing I think I'd have done differently, and it was only slightly you know, it didn't really matter, so, you know, I'm proud of it. And I was like, oh, Michael's proud of me, he's saying good things about me. So, yeah, I felt really good. So, Currently, God of War is the choice. There's definitely a potential to pivot off that at some point, but at the moment, I'm going to be taking it to the first cup of this month, and we'll see how we go. And that is as of recording tomorrow, as of publishing this video yesterday. So, you know, you'll see on Twitter how it got on. So, schedule for September. I've got my big calendar up here, so I can tell you straight away. When this video comes out, we've already done one cup, and that is at Sanctuary Games in Mansfield. So that will be, hopefully, you know, plus 50. We'll see. The following weekend, we've got Geek Retreat Kidderminster on the 9th of September. On the 16th, we're going to Underworld Games in Nottingham for their League Cup. And then the weekend after that, we've got Game HQ in Birmingham for our first Best of One League Cup, which will be interesting. And then after that, Griffin's Gaming League Cup in Erdington, also technically in Birmingham. So a double Birmingham weekend. And there's potential for another cup happening as well, although I don't know the full details of that yet. And we should also have the Manaflux Challenge. So that's at least 5 cups, 1 challenge. If I come away from September with no points, I think I might cry. But yeah, we've definitely got a lot to go. So if you do see me at any of these, by the way, feel free to come say hi. Usually I don't bite. If I don't recognise you, if you're a stranger, I've been told not to talk to you by my parents growing up. But if you go, oh, I know you from XYZ, not X, don't say X, say Twitter. Don't encourage him, okay? Don't say X. But if you know me from YouTube or Twitch, you know, come say hi, and I promise, whatever scowl I've got on my face will change to a happy, like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, so that's kind of it. We've got this is super late news. You know, Worlds happened middle of the month, last month now, so it's a while ago. Worlds location has been revealed, and that is going to be Honolulu in Hawaii. Has that reveal stopped me from going for the World's Invite? Absolutely not. Has it made me go, if I don't make it this year, oh well? A little bit. And not because I don't want to go to Hawaii, not because I don't want to, you know, travel or anything like that, but more because there is a lot of tourism is bad for Hawaii stuff and things like that. And listen, I'm just a dumbass who lives in Britain. I don't know anything about anything at this stage. If someone local to an area says tourism is bad for a place, I'm inclined to believe them. So the current plan, listen, this is a current plan, and plans change, but the current plan is I'd like to be able to take 2 weeks off for Worlds. And what my current plan is to do something like go to somewhere West Coast, so we're like quite close to Hawaii or easier to travel to Hawaii. Travel to Hawaii literally just for Worlds to minimize like our impact on the islands and things like that, then travel out to like East Coast America, so we've got an easier jump back to Britain later on. There's definitely some plans in there, but yeah, it really depends how the season goes at this stage. Like, I'm not in the market to start making plans, but one of the things that is another plan as well is NAIC, which is taking place in New Orleans, I believe. So current plan is if I'm within, I don't know, 100 to 150 points of Worlds invites, I'm probably going to find the time to get to NAIC as well as doing EUIC this year, which incidentally has also been announced for London, which is nice. Same place as last time, so we should be able to get there fine. But honestly, I'm kind of playing these big events by ear at this stage. It's kind of like, am I anywhere near the points I need to be to get to where I need to be, if that makes sense? Like, there's certain milestones in my mind that I want to hit, so we'll see. But those are the plans at the moment. We know it's in Honolulu, and we've got plans around there to do Worlds, but minimize impact on the environment and the islands. But yeah, I think that's everything for now, guys. I may end up editing this and doing some weird stuff and adding some stuff. I'm trying my best to do the recordings of like almost mini vlogs after every cup and challenge. You'll see from the bits I chop up and stuff, that hasn't happened, but we'll get there. We'll get there one day. It's hard, especially when you get back from a cup on a Sunday at like 9 o'clock at night and you're like, I just want to go to bed. I just can't be bothered to do anything. But yeah, we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, all my social media links are in the description below. If you've enjoyed this, do consider subscribing. I'm trying to put out OC content every week, and I'm putting out as many Twitch VODs as I can as episodic content, which seems to be doing well. People seem to like it, so that's good. Thank you for watching as always. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.